Welcome back to my series giving the top 5 best offseason moves from each NFL team. In this one, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. F5 for the Raiders, I have Alexander Madison. Madison spent most of his career as the backup for Dalvin Cook in Minnesota, and at that time, he was looked at as one of the best backup running backs in the entire NFL. Now, with the absence of Dalvin Cook last season, he didn't shine like people thought he was going to, hence why he didn't get a big deal this offseason. But now he gets a chance to be in a running back room with Zamir White, and I think the two of them could do a good job of making up for the lack of Josh Jacobs. At 4, I have Michael Gallup. Gallup has dealt with a lot of injuries lately in his career, and before getting injured, it looked like he was going to get a decent extension from the Cowboys. But because he couldn't stay on the field and he couldn't accumulate stats, he doesn't get that extension from the Cowboys, and he instead has to sign a cheap deal with the Raiders. Gallup was a great receiver when he was healthy with the Cowboys, and I think if he can stay healthy, he can be a good signing for the Raiders at a really cheap price. He's probably sitting at wide receiver 4 right now for the Raiders, but if he can produce, I think he can easily move up to that 3 spot. At 3, I have Jackson Powers Johnson. JPJ was one of my favorite interior offensive linemen in the draft, and he fell all the way to the second round for them. He was dominant playing all positions on the inside for Oregon this season, and I think the Raiders are getting some much needed offensive line help, and in the second round, I love this pick. At 2, I have Brock Bowers. In a lot of drafts, I think Brock Bowers probably goes like top 8-ish, and when the Raiders saw a couple quarterbacks go off the board earlier than they expected, they had an opportunity to go best player available with Bowers, and they do that here. Bowers is an absolute weapon with his size and speed, and him and Devontae are going to be deadly together. Whoever plays quarterback for the Raiders is going to have some weapons to throw to. But at 1, I have Christian Wilkins. Wilkins got the bag this offseason, and he completely deserves it. He's such a dominant pass rusher. He has a combination of size and speed that just makes him deadly on the end. Him and Max Crosby are going to be a crazy duo together. Overall, I think the Raiders had a pretty good offseason. The only problem is they still have a lot of question marks at quarterback, but that can be solved later on. Like I said, whoever ends up playing quarterback is going to be in a pretty solid situation, especially if you see some improvement on the O-line. But comment what team I should do next.